Blade is a 5-star wind destruction unit who specializes in consuming his own HP to unleash powerful blast damage attacks. His abilities scale mostly on HP with some additional minor attack scaling, but the attack scaling is pretty low, so the focus is on HP when building him. Getting right into his kit, as I mentioned, Blade's main mechanic is consuming his HP to empower his attacks, and when you use his skill, it consumes 1 skill point, 30% of his max HP, and puts him into what's called Hellscape state, which turns his basic attack into an enhanced basic attack that consumes 10% of his max HP, deals increased wind damage to a single target, as well as splash damage to adjacent enemies, and neither consumes nor generates a skill point. If Blade's HP is insufficient upon using his skill or enhanced basic attack, his HP will be reduced to 1. This Hellscape state lasts for 3 turns after the first use, so ends up actually being 4 turns, which makes Blade incredibly skill point efficient, as even though he's not generating skill points, he's only using one every 4 turns. Also, the use of his skill does not generate energy itself, but using his enhanced basic attacks generates the same amount of energy that a regular skill does, so you don't have to worry about his energy regen rate. His ultimate will set his HP to 50% and deal damage to a single target plus splash damage to adjacent enemies based on a percentage of his max HP, a small percentage of his attack, plus a percentage of the total HP he has lost so far in battle. The amount of HP lost is capped at 90% of his max HP and will reset and start accumulating again after using his ultimate. Because his ultimate sets his HP to 50%, you either use it when he's above half health to increase your HP loss tally and gain another charge for his follow-up attack, which when timed right can chain his attacks together for an incredibly strong combo, or when he is very low HP as a sort of emergency heal to get him back up to half health. Blade's talent will give him a charge stack every time he loses HP, either from taking damage or consuming his own HP, up to 5 stacks at E0. Once he reaches max stacks, he consumes all charges to unleash a follow-up attack dealing AoE damage to all enemies, while also restoring 25% of his max HP. HP loss due to damage over time will also grant him a stack, however enemy attacks that hit more than once will only give him 1 stack. His technique when used to enter battle will consume 20% of his max HP, deal wind damage equal to 40% of his max HP to all enemies, and immediately grant 1 stack of charge for his follow-up attack. It is an attacking technique, so use any buffing techniques first. Something to note is that though Blade wants to lose HP, he doesn't want to stay low HP. He doesn't work the same way Arlen does, where he does more damage the lower his current HP is. Blade gets damage boosts from the act of lowering his HP alone, and the damage boost for his ultimate accumulates from total max HP lost over time, not current HP below max. So you do want to run a healer with him so he can keep consuming his HP and not die, but never with a shielder because he does still want to take damage when he gets hit. His secondary traces are Never-Ending Deaths, which will heal him for 5% of his max HP plus 100 when he hits a weakness broken enemy with his enhanced basic attack. Vita Infinita, which increases his incoming healing by 20% when his HP is at 50% or lower, and Cyclone of Destruction, which increases the damage of his follow-up attack by 20%. Lastly, his stat bonus traces give him a total of 28% HP, 12% crit rate, and 10% effect resistance. Ideally, you want to unlock all of his traces, then generally you just want to level everything, but prioritize his normal attacks and skill equally, followed by his talent and ultimate. When it comes to Eidolons, Blade is complete at E0, so his Eidolons are not at all necessary, and for most players a whole new character is more valuable than multiple copies of one. However, if you are someone who pulls multiple copies of characters, or if you're just going all in on Blade, that's entirely your choice, as all of Blade's Eidolons are very strong and any of them can be a good stopping point. E1 increases the damage of his ultimate by an extra 150% of the tally of his HP lost. E2 increases his crit rate by 15% when he is in the Hellscape state. E3 increases the level of his ultimate and talent. E4 increases his max HP by 20% when his current HP falls to 50% or lower and can stack up to 2 times. E5 increases the level of his basic attack and skill, and E6 reduces the maximum stacks needed for his follow-up attack to 4 while also increasing its damage by 50% of his max HP. For relics, his best set is of course the Longevous Disciple, which gives 12% increased HP on the 2-piece, and the 4-piece gives up to 16% crit rate when the wearer loses HP. Due to Blade's kit, he can have 100% uptime on the full 16% crit rate, which can help building him in general, as well as hitting the thresholds for planar ornament sets, which I'll get into. If you don't have a full set of the Longevous Disciple, you can mix and match the 2-piece with a 2-piece Messenger for the extra speed, which he desperately needs, plus it's in the same domain, or 2-piece of Eagle of Twilight if you already have it, for the wind damage, or just any pieces that have good crit and HP stats for now. For planar ornaments, his 2 best sets are Inert Salsoto and Rutilant Arena. Both give 8% crit rate, with Salsoto increasing ultimate and follow-up attack damage when your crit rate is at least 50%, and Arena increasing basic attack and skill damage when your crit rate is at least 70%. While technically Salsoto can beat Arena, it's only by a couple percent, and the one that's best for you is going to depend on your stats and what you can build for. If you can't reliably hit the 70% crit rate threshold, you'll definitely want to go for Salsoto, and if you can hit it, pick whichever one has the better substats or whichever one is in the simulated universe world you're farming. If you really don't have either set, or for lower level players, you can use the Fleet of the Ageless set for the extra HP temporarily, but only until you can get one of the other sets. For Relic Stats, it's generally going to depend on your Light Cone, Relic Sets, and whether or not you're running him with Bronya, but you'll always want an HP rope, and then generally for the body you can go either crit damage or HP if your substats can support it, and or if you're using Bronya, a wind damage or HP orb, and you'll almost always want speed boots because yikes. But you can use HP boots if you can get over 120 speed with lucky speed rolls, the 2-piece messenger set, or again if you're using Bronya. For substats, you want crit rate and crit damage, HP percent, effect resistance, break effect, and though not necessary, attack percent rolls don't hurt. Moving on to light cones, because most destruction light cones are heavily attack based, Blade basically has 3 great options. His best of course is his signature, as it was tailor made for him, giving high base HP, crit rate, increased max HP, and increases his damage when he is attacked or consumes his HP. If you can't or choose not to pull his light cone, his best 4-star option is a Secret Bow, which has high base HP for a 4-star, and depending on superimpositions increases the wearer's damage by 20 to 40%, as well as an additional 20 to 40% if the enemy's HP is equal to or higher than the wearer's current HP. Since Blade's HP will fluctuate a lot during a fight due to him being able to heal himself with his follow-up attack and ultimate, and especially if you're running him with someone like Luocha, who will keep Blade's HP up most of the time, the damage from this light cone will be inconsistent due to not always being able to get the additional damage bonus. However, the unconditional 20 to 40% increased damage for his entire kit is still really good. And if you don't have either of those, his best free-to-play light cone is S5 Mutual Demise. It gives the wearer 24% crit rate when their HP is lower than 80%, which Blade can get 100% uptime on even when running him with Luocha. This light cone, along with the crit rate from Blade's kit as well as relics, can easily allow him to hit the thresholds for planar ornament sets and makes it much easier to build around his crit ratio, making it stronger than S5 Collapsing Sky and much cheaper to level than Fall of an Aeon. When it comes to team building, first I want to talk about Blade's synergy with support units. He doesn't synergize as well with most Harmony units as other DPS units who scale on attack do, with the exception of Bronya, who is currently Blade's best Harmony partner. Also, with speed tuning and being able to play around her buff timing, Yukong synergizes surprisingly well with Blade. Her attack buff isn't as valuable, but her crit buff is, and when you time it right, you can fit Blade's enhanced basic attack, ultimate, and follow-up attack into her buff window for a huge amount of burst damage in a very short amount of time. Blade does, however, pair very well with defense shredders, so Silverwolf and Pela, because reducing enemy defense allows Blade to do more damage than he would with an attack buffer, and Pela is particularly good with Blade as her defense shred is AoE as well as being SP positive. That being being said, if you want to run Blade as a hyper carry, you basically need Bronya, and that kind of party setup would look something like Blade, Bronya, Pela, and a healer. Luocha being the best for Blade, but Bailu or Natasha could work. With Natasha, you have to play safer though, and will likely have to change Blade's playstyle to use his ult as a heal, as Natasha's healing is decent, but can't always keep up with Blade's self HP drain on top of taking damage from enemies. Not everyone has Bronya though, so you can also try running teams like Pela or Silverwolf, Yukong and a healer, or Pela or Silverwolf, a healer and then a sub damage dealer like Sampo if you have him for extra wind damage and damage over time, or another elemental break unit like Asta who can also provide Blade extra turns with her speed buff. The other way of playing Blade is to use him as the sub DPS for fights where wind coverage is beneficial but focuses on another main carry depending on elemental coverage. So you would have your carry, a harmony support, a healer, and Blade, and you can mix and match the main carry and harmony support as needed. Just always run a healer and never a shielder. So that's about it for Blade. I know this was a very quick overview and guide, but I just wanted to get straight to the point. And if you have him, I hope you're enjoying playing him as much as I am, and if you're still trying to bring him home, I wish you all the luck on your pulls. As always, thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe for more videos to come, and I will see you next time.